Welcome to another episode of the Fat Cats Rugby Podcast. I've come to cook this week because now Pirates is done, so we can go to discussions that actually matter. Congratulations once again, but the show must go on. I'm here with Ruben. Edwin is my name. And this time we have managed to bring you some royalty after having some Pirates royalty as well. I call him captain. I don't disrespect people. I give them their titles that they have earned for over time. So, without any further ado, wasting time, captain, the only similarity I think we have is that he's called Gonya and I play for a team called Gonya. So, Captain Michael Gonya Wokorach. Nice to have you here.
Thank you very much.
This has been long overdue, but we said that we're going to have conversations in the off-season.
Yeah.
And one of them slated was for you to address a few issues. Number one, we discussed before, there was a picture. We'll not show it because it's very graphic, but I told him the last time we ever interacted on a rugby field was in 2013. And I don't know who feared who, but captain was folded. He was folded. Yeah, it was a very bad picture. We're not going to show it. He was folded and he went off with a very severe neck injury. But then he managed to come back and obviously punish as he always does. So Warriors lost that game 66. I'm in my Warrior shirt supporting them.
But you're going to like 60-50.
60-50. with time, baby steps. Nice to have you here.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad that today I've managed to come on the podcast. I have been sidestepping you guys for so long, yeah?
Talk to my PA.
And yeah, your PA did magic. So it's good actually because I think such platforms are quite good. And when you come here and talk about rugby, it's good for the public and for the rugby fans. So I'm glad I'm here today. I try to make time from work because I've always really been busy. I leave work at about 7 almost every day. But today I'm glad that I made it on time. And I'm here to talk rugby.
Perfect. Usually we start the podcast with memory lane and then reach the current. But once start with the current, then we go behind. Is that tweet you put out? The retirement tweet that I am out of the game. Oh, we don't understand English very well.
No, I think my tweet was misleading.
Yes.
And there's one bit where I said as a player.
Yes.
And that one confused everyone. But I think I should have packaged it more better and basically just say I was handing over the captainship to Ian. But I was still playing.
Okay.
So I think that's where everyone got a bit confused that, the man has retired. That's why everyone said, bringing out, hey, thank you for the game, thank you for leading Uganda and all the work. So
on the bright side, I think you got a glimpse of how your tribute will look when you finally retire.
Yeah.
You know, a bit of like what happened with Tom Brady when he retired the first time, and then everyone showered him with all those praises, and then it was like, one more season.
Yeah,
One more season.
It was amazing because some people even came to my inbox and said, "Gwe guy, are you serious about this?" I'm like, by the way, I think I've made a mistake. I tweeted wrongly,
Yes.
but I'm still playing, so no need to worry. It's just that I handed over captainship to Ian to lead the young squad going forward, because that's the men or the old bones were the evening of our career, like everyone normally says. So it was only right for me to do that.
That's why you had to invoke your Luo-ness, and you brought out the tweet that a Luo man does not retire on social media.
Yeah, because people are retiring me on social media and yet had not come out clearly to tell them I've retired. Definitely when I retire, I'm going to call a press conference
Okay.
and assure the world and Uganda that, guys, I'm done with the sport.
You're done with the sport.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should be the first rugby player to do that.
I think
usually rugby players, I don't know, it's usually they retire because of one, work, two, serious injuries, but usually if a person is still capable, they go on. You see Scott is in his 40s.
Yeah, true. I think Mubiri also did the same thing. He called a press conference to retire.
Oh.
Yeah, it was at Chadondo. He called some press guys. And then I was also there just to say a few words about Mubiru and him being a player and captain for Heathen. So people do it the way they want to do it. So it was something that Mubiru did well, and maybe I may follow in his footsteps and see maybe when I'm hanging off my boots and stuff like that, I can call one.
Well, if you delve much into the retirement talk, I think you put your one foot forward there by saying that you played in the Wazei game. Tell us about the Wazei game.
It was quite interesting. I think Abo called me, I think 2 weeks before the game and asked me, Michael, can you play? You're within the age bracket that has been granted. Yeah, that has been granted some playing time because the Kenyans also had 3 of their players who are within that age bracket, over 30 to 35.
Okay.
And we also had to get 3 players to also play within that age. So they got me as man and Coach Onen.
Okay.
We fall within that age bracket. So that's why when Habo called me, I'm like, no problem. The season is done. I'm ready and still fit to come and try and help you guys.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was quite good. And I think that concept and what they have started is something very big. And it's the start of a lot to come. And the Kenyans have been on tour for so long. They go to Dubai. They have done so many other things together. And you could really see there was a class apart from the Ugandan vets and the Kenyan vets. And they're trained for quite some time.
Yeah.
We only had, I think, 3 weeks of training. And in those 3 weeks, guys were not consistent. You call a guy and say, man, me, I'm at work, so I can't make it. And you could really tell that there was a big gap and a big difference between the Kenyan vets and us who are really struggling with fitness. Yeah.
Were you allowed to stool? Because I didn't see you engage. You were just passing the ball.
So basically, Odomel was the liaison of Kenya.
Yes.
And when those guys heard that Wokorach is going to play, so they brought a strategy. I have never seen a Monde play center in his life.
Okay.
But every time I would see a Monde just right in front of me. So the strategy was, you're the best guy who can stop this man. So just stand in front of him and then try and find a way of stopping him not to go forward. So every time I would get the ball, the first person I would see is a Monde.
Yes.
And yet he was playing in the park.
Yeah.
But when we were on attack, you'd send that guy to the park and then he would come and stand at 13. So I was limited, and also the fact that these were vets. They got tired easily. Mostly ours. The ball was not coming to the wing.
Yeah.
And yet, most of the time when the ball would come to the wing, we were a big threat. And we just didn't use it as much as we should have used it. I think we woke up in the second half and it was too late.
Yeah.
Ball was mostly dying in the middle channel, or team would actually carry the ball, or then would carry the ball or something. But it all comes down that we didn't have enough preparations.
Yeah.
And we didn't know the combinations of how we should be playing. And I think if this thing is going to be alive going forward, I think we need to work more, because there's a return leg in November.
All right.
There's a return leg in November. So the Kenyans are waiting for us. And the plan right now is the vets are going to rest for 2 weeks and then they kick off with training, because they are serious about this thing and they're really ready to go back to go to Kenya and try and put up a good show.
Ruben, when the Kenya vets arrived at Entebbe, they were in blazers, khakis, and our Kampala women, there's that fear women campaign moving around. All of them jumped ship like they had never seen us. I think our council pictures should have been in front. But anyway, what's your understanding of this concept? Do you think it's something good? There was a concept?
No, it's a brilliant thing. First of all, to keep these 2 groups of people interacting with each other, catching up on all days, but also networking just beyond the game. What are you doing? What are you up to? I mean, this is how partnerships, this is how relationships beyond the sport are maintained, I should say. I think it's a very, very good thing. And I think with the right hype, a lot, like you said, a lot can be done. I mean, even the Ugandan side can also start maybe perhaps having tours here and there, and have a lot of maybe brands come on board and see how to grow. It can just even be something that is the game, but even beyond actively playing. I mean, how are they also using that platform to perhaps maybe do something for society? It's something that can be really explored in different ways.
I think the plan from the Kenyan vets is to make it a regional thing. Maybe go across Rwanda, just try and build character with this rugby going on. Try and go for different clinics in different camps and show the guys how rugby has built character, and maybe also do some helping of these underprivileged kids. So if you see this tournament, actually, the Ugandans, we had about 3 sponsors just from nowhere. Nile came on board, gave the vets quite a good sum of money. They took charge of the whole setting. You could see how Chadondo was. We had a backstage, fun park, and all that. And then Airtel was also on board. They came in, and as well as, is it Britam?
Britam Insurance,
Britam
yes.
also came in. So it's something that can grow. Next time you'll hear Uganda Airlines will come in and say, guys, we're going to fly you to Nairobi.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to build something big, and it's going to get out of hand. We may not even manage it us ourselves. It will go into some different direction.
Okay, perfect. Me, from my perspective, it was a good kickstart for the international calendar that we are still waiting for. But maybe as the Ugandan vets go through their paces and they need some time to relax, they can come and stay at the Fred and Winnie B&B. We'll have facilities. We don't have very high stairs that the vets can't climb in the event that their knees are losing shape from the hard training that they undertake. We have 10 self-contained rooms with 2 kitchens on either floor, Wi-Fi with a backup system. We also have an in-home chef who will take care for all your food needs, culinary needs, for those who want to take a snack or two or experience some fine dining. We'll also have transport pickup arrangements from the airport or to any other destination that is made. Do come and check out the Fred and Winnie B&B. Tell them a Fat Cat has sent you, and experience some good packages as we enter summer season, the sundress season of as we fear the ladies. Let's say experience the sundress season. So, Michael, we're going to go back. I know we said we'll start from the front, then go to the back. You've been around for nearly 18, 20 years now in the rugby field sector.
21 years.
21 years. Imagine.
Uganda's LeBron.
Uganda's LeBron. Talk over. You're still in the
21
game.
years not playing, but around.
But around, eh?
Yes, around rugby circles.
Okay. Yeah. So now we want to know, when did you start this thing? When did you begin your love affair with a ball that is oval shaped?
Okay. Actually, I fell in love with rugby in 2002. And I would say it was a blessing in disguise. I grew up in Bogolowi Flats, where I stayed with my mom and my dad. But then my dad passed on in 2002, and I got an opportunity to move from Bogolowi because by that time my mom could not take care of me and my siblings. But she afforded to send me away to go and join my auntie, because my auntie at that time was a member of parliament. And she was really well off. So she sent me away to go and join my cousins. And my cousins stayed in Nakawa Flats. So you know what Nakawa Naguru is about with sports. So I met a couple of people, and those were one of my peers who I grew up with, Benon, Opa, and Chikawa. So there's this one day they said, Michael, you know what? It's a Saturday. Let's go down to the rugby club. And I'm like, what is rugby? I didn't even have an idea, because in Bogolowi, we only knew basketball and soccer, basically. So I'm like, there's a sport called rugby, because I'd never seen rugby. I'd actually never crossed the railway to come on this side, because I stayed in, my first school was in Kiswa. I did some bit of St. Kizito in Bogolowi. So they're like, let's go down to the rugby club. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm free right now. We can swing by. So there was a big game, Heathens and Impis, and it was at Chadondo. So we take a stroll down. We just walked, crossed over, and went to Chadondo. And they're like, now today what we're going to do, we're just going to be water boys. We'll be giving these guys water and maybe picking up the balls that go over the sewage line.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, no problem. And that time I was amazed, because most of the guys who were playing for Heathens were all whites. The biggest number were whites. And then I'm seeing Impis, there's no white guy. I think Magona by that time was in Impis. I'm not very sure. I must have been in Impis or something. Was only the only guy who looked a bit white in the other opposite team. But on this team, most of the guys were white. So that was my first experience. And it was amazing that I watched a very good game of rugby. I think Heathens won that game. They beat Impis. But it was a tightly contested game. And I'm like, so this game has whites. It's very organized. what can I do? Do I fall in love with the game, or I go back to Nakawa Flats and I say, I'm not going back? So the guys enticed me. Ben was like, by the way, you should give it a chance, because for them, they're already playing tag.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was quite interesting for them. They say, we come down here, we do our thing, then we go back home when we are free, when we are done with school. So I'm like, yeah, maybe I should give it a try. So there's this one day, they come and pick me and they're like, Michael, let's go. I'm like, okay, no problem. So we go, and the rest is history, and that's how I picked up my first rugby ball. And I remember my first rugby coach was Mark Olwen. He's the one who taught me how to do all the skills, how to pass. I know not so many people know, but I didn't play tag rugby for so long because that time I was supposed to go to boarding school because my mom didn't want me to be in there. She's like, even if you're staying with your auntie, I want you to go to boarding school. So I didn't do much of tag rugby. So that's why you don't hear my name saying I'm one of the tag pioneers.
Alumni.
Like the Phillips. The Phillips really did a lot of tag and the lives of Aaron and all that.
Yes.
I didn't really do much, but tag rugby was my first foundation.
Okay.
And I was of age. I was a bit same age with the Benons, but a bit older than the other guys who the Benons were training with. So I wanted more of contact than even doing this tag. And yet I just learned the game. Can you imagine? I just learned the game as getting the basics.
Yeah.
And most of the times we'll find ourselves at Chadondo and then we'll steal ourselves instead of tag, we'll be tackling each other. And every time the coach would find us, he would come and bang our heads. There's this thing, how they call it, Engolo. Yeah, he finds you banging, he finds you playing tackle, he hits you, he says, guys, you're not yet of age, calm down, let's go through tag. But after that, I really didn't engage much in rugby because the school I went to down in Butambala, I was in a Muslim school called Chivivi.
Yes.
It's near Gombe.
Yes.
And those schools is predominantly soccer.
Yeah.
So when I went to that school, there was no rugby, and I'm like, I've fallen in love with a new sport, but then I can't get to play it. So I didn't play rugby up to about my S3. So my S3, I left Gombe, I left Chivivi, and went to Maryland in Entebbe.
Yes.
That was about the time when Maryland had just been established. So when I went to Maryland, I found Chikawa, I found Mulo.
Yes, Dennis Mulo.
Mulo.
Yes.
There's a guy called Emerson. So I found those guys, and they were introducing rugby in Maryland. And now that's how I got more involved and started training more rugby in Maryland. So after Maryland, I went to St. Lawrence.
Yeah.
And St. Lawrence basically is a predominantly rugby playing school. By that time, there was the Coca-Cola League, Schools League, and that's how I elevated my rugby when I was in St. Lawrence. Immediately after St. Lawrence, I joined Heathens. But while I was in St. Lawrence, I played a bit with Buffaloes.
You played for Buffaloes?
Yeah, not so many
people know. Did you guys know you played for Buffaloes?
Not so many people know, but it was about half a season. There were not so many games. We had, there was a gentleman called Brian. Is it Tindik? There's Alan Tindikawa. Tindikawa. He would pick us up from school, me, Muyodi, and Preston. He would pick us up, brings us to play for Buffaloes. We used to use the back pitch. The back pitch was quite big before that warehouse, before that land was taken by the former vice president.
Yeah.
So that was Buffalo's kind of home ground.
Yes.
The pitch was quite big, and he would bring us. Heathens would be playing on the main pitch, and then Buffaloes in the back pitch. So he would pick us from school, we come and play, he takes us back to school. But I didn't play wrong. As in my Form 5, after my Form 6, we come out. Back then, for you to join Heathens, they would put the whole pool of all players. They would put Buffaloes, they would put Heathens together, and then you play trials. At the end of the season, there was no one saying, me I'm a Heathen, me I'm a Buffalo. No, it was for you to fight for a number. They put us together, we have trials.
Open warfare.
Then they choose, they say, this started, Heathens. This started, Buffaloes. You understand? So it was that time for you to really showcase that I want to play for Heathens.
Yeah.
And now I was this young man, I didn't know what to do. Guys were like, no, you just give it a try. You have the skill, you've built some good skill, you've been playing schools rugby, you've played some beat with Buffalo, so do what you can. And I really put up a good show, and Tolbert Onyango was the first guy who spotted me and said, that boy will be a very good talent for Heathens. So take him up, sign him for Heathens, and that's how I started playing for Heathens. That was in 2008 when I was just fresh from high school.
Wow, 2008.
Yeah.
You know, this podcast, they always say we are Namilyango PR. Some lady on the TL said Namilyango guys are now trash after saying that we are the guys to be with. So I think I remember the first time Michael came to was Namilyango. I think, which year was it? Didn't you play? There's a game you played. I remember there was some lanky guy with a headgear.
Yeah, with a headgear
Yes.
and a very big afro.
Aha,
I used to
yes.
like an afro when I was in school. Yeah.
Ruben, Michael has said Chadi and Tag, and most of our guests who have come here always bring back to that issue. Chadi, is Chadondo the academy, the rugby academy of Uganda?
I think, I don't know, really when you look at systems of rugby in this country, you can't go without mentioning two rugby grounds and you don't mention Chadondo. And many of them really trace much of how rugby, all their rugby journeys started at Chadondo. So I think, first of all, even looking at, I mean, he has talked about the open warfare to qualify for either Heathens or Buffaloes, which I think is a brilliant concept. It should even be brought back. But it's one of the things I've always said is I admire how Chadondo's systems are. From the tag rugby all the way through, they even have a group of Wazee that still play touch and whatnot. So there is so many levels that by the time someone gets to feature like for Heathens, they have gone through the test, at least from a Ugandan rugby perspective. And I really do admire Chadondo for that. And I can see Kings Park is starting to also do something like that. So it's great to see rugby grounds also now starting to really go in that direction of proper systems.
I think Legends also used to do it. And Helen was running a program. I don't know what really happened, but
It's still there.
Which is now running
Yeah.
it from Boyogere.
Yeah, but she's running it from Kings Park. But there was a couple of years back, actually, Legends was also having the same kind of program. And then you would see rugby players like Ijonga trying to help out and all that. So
Yeah.
if something of that kind can be revived, it would be good for rugby because it helps mold someone into being the right rugby player, because the skill of how to pass. If you realize most of the rugby players who have banged a shortcut, they forget that skill. They just now want to bring in the Kanyama game and all that. But this skill of when I have a ball, what do I do? How do I pass it and all that? It's lacking a bit because he didn't go through the right path. He banged this panya and now it's catching up with him. You understand?
Yeah.
When you mentioned that, I thought about Edwin and his left pass.
I was going to say, I was going to illustrate the perfect
But
illustration.
you're not alone. There are so
The
many people who
perfect
cannot pass on their
illustration
left.
is when you get the ball on your left and you want to pass. Now you're caught in between the pass going very far and spinning. So when you try to spin the ball, it either goes up or it goes short. Like a guy is on the wing the other side and it just stops halfway the trip to the wing and you get to wonder. And it happens a lot when they, especially in sevens, when these big boys come, you know, they want the big boys to play in the park.
Yeah.
And then when you're like overlaps, cut,
Pass,
pass, then you see the guy trying to cock the ball. He's like, you know what? One way. Let me just hit at the gap.
Now that is where the challenge is.
Yes.
You would have made the pass, but then because you did not go through the right channels of learning how to pass, then
Yes.
you can't make the pass.
Yeah.
So look, you're not alone. There are
Yeah.
so many people who can pass on the left.
By the way,
Even
my
now
left
in this
pass
league.
is Kawa, just to be clear. We are going to have a video next week with the rugby ball, and I'm going to show you guys
There is
how I
passing it
pass.
here in the compound. That is a whole totally different dynamic. But if we talk about, because I remember last year's
That's
Good
just
Friday,
Good
we
Friday.
had a 3-on-1.
Yeah.
Edwin with ball in hand. Just commit the man and pass. The man put the ball behind us.
I passed. It was a perfect spin. It's just that these guys were too fast. You don't sell the overlap by going too fast.
But I really feel like tag rugby should be
Yeah.
really across the country. It should be a program that I think the union should take on intentionally. And it should be one of the mandates for every rugby ground. I know some of these things need resources to have those systems, but
you see, also, it shouldn't be the mandate of the union. These rugby clubs as them, they should bring up such kind of programs because it helps them have a feeder side. Because there are levels. You play tag, then after you graduate to the next level, then you go into contact. That's why you have a real system from tag rugby. They introduce it into contact, then you go into stallion. That's why they always say Chadondo is the place where everyone can go and pick whichever player they want who is modified and can go and fit into any team. Look around, most of the players have passed through Chadondo. I can tell you half the team of Cobs. Some of the guys were once in Stallion, or they went through Christine's hands, or they went through Sky's hands. Most of them, Odugo, who I won't mention names. Even I can tell you, even Collins Chimboa started from Chadondo.
Yes, Collins Chimboa.
Yes.
Ijongat. Pius.
Yeah.
Who else?
Aren't we going to name
the list? Is big. The list
even
is
former
big.
players. Even when Okeni was in Cobs, I think he must have been a Chadi guy.
Yes,
he started from Chadi.
Yes, he started from Okeni side from Chadondo.
Yeah.
He was in Stallion, then he went to Cobs.
Yeah.
He actually first went
to
to
Warriors.
Then
I think he went to Cabras at one point. I'm a bit mistaken.
Yeah.
Even Juko. Juko started from Chadondo.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken. He must have started from there and then crossed over.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So it's also the mandate of clubs to come up with such programs. It's good for them because they'll have a big pool of players where they can choose from. Cobs' box has just been revived.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
At one point it was dead.
Yeah.
It's because they did not have that feeder system. If they had it, from tag rugby, you go to contact sports, then you break through to go and play for box. And then you give it about 2-3 years, then you can knock onto the door and say, I want to play for the big team.
Yeah. So in 2008, when you're knocking on the door and it was opened, Edens, who are the guys at that time in 2008?
Wow, it's a long list. Definitely the Benons were there because Benon was like the number one fullback in Heathens. We had Chika, who was a scrum half. We had Scott was actually when I joined Heathens, Scott was still in Heathens before he started moving up and about, and now he's back home. Robert Seguia, may his soul rest in peace, was there. We had Matthias Ocho, was in Heathens. Dennis Mulo, Arthur Mukama. We had Dennis Taliata, was also there.
Okay.
We had quite a number of players who were in Heathens at that time, and I think the only general who is remaining is maybe Opa and Scott. Arthur is a bit out now. I would say maybe he's done with rugby.
Was that the time of MTN or was
yes,
that before?
it was MTN. It was MTN. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a long list. I think there are some other people you actually even don't know, but those are the guys I've found playing for Heathens.
Edwin should tell you our first Super 8 game was against that MTN Heathens.
By the way, I refused to play.
You refused to play?
I refused to play. I said, wah. I was like, wapi. I played the 2 promotion games. When we won,
Edwin,
when they said we're playing Heathens first game, I said I'm not playing.
Yeah.
With all the kids that have been looking up to you, how could you?
Wah. I had shame.
Man, that game, man.
I had fear and shame. I was like, wah.
Yeah. You know when you see some, you're from high school, you sometimes you even leave school just to watch some of these big games.
Yeah.
You're seeing Michael on pitch, you're seeing Evans on pitch, and now me that I'd pay particular attention from 10 to 13 there. Then fast forward, you find yourself in summer camp, you find yourself playing playoffs, you find yourself keep in mind those playoffs were also tricky because Nile brought second leg brought some Kenyans.
Yeah, they brought Kenyans. Those
myself
big
and
guys.
Lincoln in that center.
Yeah.
With the way we were very small. Then the next season, your first game, your orientation into the big boys.
Yes.
You get that game.
Was Heathens.
I can never forget it. Ended 76-0.
I remember where I was watching the game from. I was watching from the pork joint. I was near the ribs. I was just there watching. I was like, okay, enjoy that smoke.
The league was very, very, very uncompromising at the time. Man, when you come as a new team, you play the descending ladder.
Yeah.
Champion, second,
third.
fourth.
Yeah.
By the time you reach the guys, you can actually even handle. Man.
You could handle, yeah.
You
By the way, you speak of it that way. Was that maybe a union style? You usher the
I'm
guys
so happy
in
with
with
the fact that now there's a hot sort of mix.
Yeah,
It's
but
better.
there's a mix, but you find yourself in the hot fire.
Of course,
I can tell you,
you can't avoid
Impis
it.
had 5 solid games.
Yes.
That is how their down sparrow started. Because
Yeah,
they were up
5
there,
solid,
but
then after.
by the time they are stabilizing,
Yeah.
they're even struggling against these small teams.
But man, the league dynamic is a little bit
It's crazy.
crazy. Maybe, Michael, when you go back to your 2008, may I call it now a 5-year cycle, when you get established in Heathens and whatever, you guys go ahead and start winning championships. You win championships. You build rivalries on the pitch. You get selected for the national team. Man, what are those rivalries like? Many guys come now and they say that guys who watched back in the day, they always like bragging. They like showing their age on us. You guys, for us, when we used to play Cobs, we never used to talk to them. You guys are all buddy. You know what? You take pictures together. What was the rivalry like back in the day?
It was quite tough because when I joined the Heathens in 28, we didn't. That season we didn't win the league. I remember the league was won by Cobs, but then the year after we won 5 times.
Yeah.
We won in 2009, 2010 till 2014. So we had 5 consecutively. And I can tell you the rivalry between these 2 great clubs is still on, but it's not like before. This time it's not like before. Before it was, we would really go out there like we were going for a serious battle.
Yeah.
You would see players like Matayo coming out, bring out their beast mode. Then you really know this is a rivalry. It's not just about rugby. It's cuts across rugby.
Yeah.
It's the heart. And they instilled this kind of rivalry in me that it showed me the way that when it is Cobs and Heathens, it's for dying.
Have you heard what you said? You said Cobs and Heathens. So please take note.
It is for dying because we knew these were the 2 great clubs that had been winning trophies.
Yeah.
And for you to win a game, you need to go and outmuscle the other guy.
Yeah.
And I think we did it well for 5 years. And it did not just start out of the blue. I think the hard work we had in Heathens. And I remember Brian Power was our coach who helped us start that mentality of, guys, sit down, sort out yourselves. It's not all about rugby, it's about the mind. What do you want to achieve as a club? Go out and execute. Before we just come play rugby without a vision, you're just playing because you want to play. But he said, guys, if you want to have a vision as a club, you need to sit down, talk about it before the season starts, and what do you want to achieve? I think he helped us change that mindset that every time we'd go for a game, we knew what we wanted and what we wanted to achieve. And it became easy for us to go, and we know this year we're going to win the trophy. This year we're going to win the trophy. And we kept on winning, kept on building a strong squad until 2014. So we all knew the biggest game for you to ever win, to win the championship, was beat Cobs and you sorted.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Because by that time, the lives of Pirates were not that strong.
Yeah.
And the other teams like Ginger Hippos would go and beat Ginger Hippos. By that time, it was called Nile. Would go and beat them 100-0, or maybe 100-5 or 3. But right now, things have changed. So that was the mentality we had. If you beat Cobs, you've won the league. Beat them home and away, you're into things. And back then, would beat Cobs hands down. Leave alone these things of saying, ref yaba bide those things would beat Cobs fair and square. I remember 2013 when that was the year I became Heathens captain. I remember 2013 we just got a fresh jersey, Samurai.
Yes.
And Cobs were coming home to play Heathens. I think that day the score must have ended 40-something.
Yeah, I think I remember that game, man.
It was the excitement about having a new jersey and also the excitement of playing at home brought out the beast in us. We beat Cobs hands down. I think even some guys went to fight on the sideline or something. Yeah. And a few players were banned because of such activities. Yeah. But the rivalry between Heathens and Cobs goes long back. And it is still alive, but not like before. These days, guys choose, should I play or shouldn't I play? Back then, it was for death. For you to be on that starting squad of Heathens, we'd go and name the team from Kavira. We first go have lunch, then they name the team.
Yeah.
From Kavira, you will not know that you're on the team until it's about, let's say, 2 p.m. on a game day.
On a game day.
You know you're going to play at 5. The team is being named at 2. After you've eaten, you're full, you're kawa, and they bring the team sheet.
Wow.
Say, Michael, you're starting at 13. These days, they name the team on Thursday.
Yeah.
You already know I'm going to play. You can do whatever you want.
You know you're not going to play, you sleep in Maison Noire.
Exactly. But now, back then you would know, they have not yet named the team. Let me be disciplined. I need to be home. No partying, no nothing. Let me wait for my chance to play. They would name the team and would march from Kavira with a band all the way to either Chandondo or Legends. And that's how the culture
was.
was.
Team manager at the time? That's overly too. That was just being too dramatic. Even a band.
Yeah, for real. That was the heathens culture.
Really?
Yeah, and I found it there, but they said it was there before. That culture died about 2011, 2012. And that was the culture. The team was not named until the game day at 2 p.m. is when you know, Edwin, dust your boots, you're going to start.
You're going to start.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, when you mentioned that thing when they used to beat Cobb's hands down, it reminds me of that picture I always bring out. There's sometime they put out you had to be there, rugby edition. I put that picture when Cox, they call him Black Jesus, with Philip. That game. You know, that was still that time of campus. You have just finished high school. You're still a Cobb's guy because those are the guys used to watch. Jesus, those days, man, they used to hammer themselves. And heathens would come, and when they would beat, it was a country mile.
True.
And
but you see, not only that heathens were also winning, but all Cobbs were also winning. They would also beat us. They would find us when we're not prepared, they would beat us. I think they won, 3 Uganda Cups in a row, when for us we were winning the league only.
Yeah.
And that time we were winning the league and the sevens, because we dominated the sevens till about 2013 or 2012.
Then you stopped.
Yes, because I don't know what happened. Certain things happened.
There was a Uganda Cup, I remember.
We used to dominate the league and the sevens. No one would touch us on the sevens. We had the Benons, we had the Kizas, we had the Opas. We used to call ourselves Nago Boys because we knew there was prize money. And in Nago Boy, for him, when there's money, he'll break a leg. So we took sevens seriously. Even when they would call us for fun rugby in Ginger, man, we would assemble a team.
I always see those fun rugby squads. I'm like, are they sure this is fun rugby?
Not anymore. We would assemble a team because we knew fun rugby, they would even bring Kenyan teams. And we knew the money was big. Now we used to put in prize money of about 5 million or 3 million. And now you have a team of like 12 chaps. How much are you going to
just split the money?
Just split the money there and then, and then life goes on. And that's how we used to put. If it is money, Nago boys have to go and operate. And that's how we dominated the sevens up to about 2012, 2013.
I was saying Uganda Cup. I remember there was a time, I think Aredo had an exam even, and he left the exam and he came on for Cobbs in the second half, and then he kicked the winning penalty that made them lose that particular trophy. I think I remember I watched that game because he said it's going to come in second half. Exam is going to finish at that time, man. So guys who are still in school and playing rugby, it can be done.
Man, let me tell you, when I got done with my degree, that day we had a final of the Uganda Cup. That was the first time we won the Uganda Cup after Cobbs had dominated. Immediately after graduation, I forgot about the party and all that. Immediately after graduation, I came with my gown to Chadondo, put off my gown, and I was into a jersey to go and represent heathens. So you can imagine that kind of sacrifice. From Nkumba, all the way to my mom was like, my sister who had gone with me was like, don't you want to go and have lunch? I said, man, I have duty to go and attend to.
These are earthly things.
Came through the suit, through the gown in the car, and I was straight into the pitch.
Party can be postponed.
Ruben, Michael said when it comes to money, you get a Nago boy mentality. I think next year, when we participate in the Rugby Chill Good Friday Touch, we should adopt. We should adopt. We know who to pick.
We know who to recruit.
We know who to recruit now because I think we always get out in group stages. So we want to reach
this year we
our first semi-final.
One win.
One win. Last year it was 1 win and 2 draws.
Yeah, we didn't have a win.
It was 2 draws and 2 losses
and a couple of losses, man.
Okay.
We have improved.
We've improved, eh? 1 win. Okay. Michael, now the rivalries. I remember back in the day. I think you came in. You were playing when Timothy was also about to exit, or he was in his Wazei days, to say the least. There was even a time. I think there was a particular Uganda fixture where you guys played. You played 12 and then you played 13. then you had this thing, Cobb's Heathens. If whoever bangs the other first, Oscar or Michael, whoever wins that first collision, the other team is going to win. So, let's take us through that battle.
I think in rugby, you always have to prove that you're the best at the number you play. And it's very important for the selectors who are going to select for the country. And one thing I put in myself is I want to be the best in this number in the country. So every time we'd have a game, be it with Cobs, be it with Pirates, I'd want to go and dominate. But also remembering that also on the other side, there's a guy who says, I want to be the best. And that was Oscar. We always had that rivalry of whoever dominates the first tackle, the first carry, is going to turn out to be the man of the match or the MVP. And that's what happened. 2013, I dominated the 13 position. I was on fire. And that year, I was voted the Super Player of the Year. The next year, Oscar said, no, there's no way. This year I've also come. I want this thing. He was also voted Super Player of the Year. So the battle was between who is going to overpower the other in this position to win an accolade. You either overpower him in that game and become man of the match, or they overpower you, they bang you, Casementi, and the other guy becomes man of the match. So that rivalry was there. But for Timo, it's a bit special, and I respect Timo so much. That time when I joined the national team 15s, actually I joined 15s in 2009. The same year I joined the 7s. But I first joined the 7s before I joined the 15s. No, the other way around. I first joined the 15s before I joined the 7s. And that time, there was a sit-down strike. I don't know what it was called. There was a strike by the Cobs players.
Yes.
They refused the call-up to come and play for Uganda. And by that time, the coach was Kasasa. He had to try and fix whoever was available to come and play for Uganda. And that time, I'd really played very well for Heathens in 2008 when I just joined. So he thought about it and said, no, let me give this young man a chance. Maybe we can get something good out of him. And when he gave me that chance, I dominated the number. That's why you say, most times when I would be on the pitch, let's say with Timo, they would want us to always be on the pitch together. So it was now the headache of the coach, who starts where and who starts where. But at any one point, they would want both players on the pitch. So Timo would say, okay, let me go and play 12, and then you play 13. I think it also happened with Oscar Kalyango. Because Oscar was playing 13 for Cobs, but every time I was there, Oscar was being pushed to number 12. So the coaches knew whose ability to play 13 and who was stronger at playing number 12. That's why most of the times I would go and play 13. And then there's one time I think we had Uganda Kenya at Legends. So we were 3 centers. It was me, Oscar, and I think Gerard Sewankambo. And the coach was confused. These are all 3 good players. By that time, Gerard Sewankambo was just from Cabras. And he was lethal. I remember that game he came here and he won man of the match against Kenya. That's the time when we won the Elgon Cup. So having 3 of us fighting for the center position, the coach was confused. So what he did is he said, let me just pull this and say, Michael is faster than all these other guys, and I want him on pitch. Let me play Gerard at 12. I play Oscar at 13. I play Michael
on the wing.
How
did that go?
It was terrible. I think
I remember that.
It was terrible. I think Darwin Mukitsa scored about 3 tries just from the wing playing and all that. So this whole thing of Timo, Oscar, and then Michael, I think we all love number 13.
Yes.
But we left it to the coaches to decide who can play number 13 better. And then when it came to the club, we always wanted to prove that I am better. I need the coach to see me and make sure he selects me to be number 13 for Uganda.
Ruben, these player rivalries, in terms of numbers, particular jersey numbers, look at it from the bigger picture of the national team. And we have a lot of talent. But then let's try and isolate the 7s, how it is divided now. And now let's go back to the 2013 version when the Michaels were playing. If we had what we have right now in terms of players, I mean, you have Munyani, then you have Taufik. Then you have Casito, then you have Kisiga, then you have what's this guy of Heathens? Oyet. Then you have nines. You have Wanyama, then you have Aaron, then you have even Casito can slot in Epilo. Man, as a coach, selection headache, man. That's 101.
Yeah, definitely. I think at that point, it also goes back to the coach's philosophy and the coach's style. And of course, definitely as players, as coaches, you have players' personal preferences of who you think or who you trust more to execute some of these roles. And like you said, sometimes also you look at how flexible or how versatile some of these other players are to slot into different positions to be able to complement one another. So it's a tricky job, and that's why they get paid, or they be in those they're given those responsibilities and not ask the fans. But at the end of the day, it's a good problem to have, I should say.
That depth. And I've even not just spoken about our back row because it's deadly. Also, we have a back row to brag about in Uganda, but that's the splits of the 15s and 7s is really, really coming into it. You said you hadn't just started playing 7s at the time. Now, 7s, I might be wrong, but let me just try to guess. Didn't you started 7s and then you went to, is it Delhi? New Delhi, India, Commonwealth Games.
So the first time I started playing 7s was the World Cup qualifier.
Yeah.
And it was in Tunisia. So Coach Kasasa was the coach at that time. Oh, I'm mistaking it. Maybe it was John. It was Coach John at that time. Okay, I'm a bit confused. But we got help from an SA coach. It was called Mbiko. I think he passed on. Yeah. And he helped, and when they assembled the team, he looked at us and he looked at me and said, where's this young boy from? So they told him brief of how I started playing rugby and then how I joined Heathens and how I think I could fit into the system he wanted. So it's like, no problem. Let me give him a chance, let him train, and then I see his strength. And I think I impressed him. I showed him that I have a lot of skill I can offer to the team, even if I'm young and I've just joined the team. It would be good for me to go and try out a World Cup qualifier, which was happening in Tunisia. So the players who were there at that time was John Musoke, we had Alan, we had Sogi, we had Matthias Ocho, we had Joel Ankuyo, we had Alan Musoke. So those are the players I entered with when I was just joining the 7 setup. You can imagine all those great players. And then there's one Michael Wokorach who wants also to come and take up a position. So it was something good for me, but I was also frightened. I didn't know what to expect because I am young, inexperienced, and we are going for a major tournament. So Sogi, who was my mentor, said, Michael, don't worry, we got you. We're going to just try and make sure you fit into the team. Let's go to Tunisia, we see what we can do. So yeah, we got to Tunisia, and most of the time I was put on the bench. I would come off the bench then to play, because by that time Timothy was playing center and was a very good pairing, him and Alan Musoke.
Yeah.
So I would just be given like 2 or 3 minutes, but then I think the kind of display I put up was very impressive, that the coach was like, this guy is going to be the future of the 7th team. Keep him into the system and he's going to go places. And when he told the coach that, the coach came and just told me exactly what he said, and I said, I am inside. Let me stick in there, let me learn how much I can learn, and I will be playing for this team for the longest time. And I think up to now, I can boast and say that is how my career all started, playing for 7s. But that year, after we failed to qualify for the World Cup, we came back. And when we came back, the team was dismantled. All those guys who were of age were thrown out. And also the coach, I think, said no, he was stepping down. And then Ronnie Lutankome, I know not so many people knew that Ronnie Lutankome once coached the 7s team.
Yeah.
So Ronnie Lutankome took over as the coach of the 7s just after we didn't qualify for the World Cup. So he took over the 7s setup, and I think he only ran it for about a year, because the next year, 2010, was the Commonwealth Games in Delhi.
Delhi, yes.
Yeah. And that time, John Musoke became the coach. After Ronnie was sidelined, John Musoke became the coach. And John said, I want Michael as the captain. But then John again called back the
old guys. I remember. I saw it. There's a video on YouTube.
Yeah, when Ronnie came, Ronnie called these guys. I can tell you Kapaps. If you know Kapaps.
Yes, Carbonero. Yes.
Carbonero.
Yes.
Ronnie called him to play sevens. After Mokama, Ronnie called him to play sevens.
Even Scott played.
Scott played.
Yeah.
Oscar Kalyango. There were quite a number of guys. I think that was the last time Oscar played sevens, if I'm not mistaken. So all those guys, when John came in, he first sidelined them again because we are going to play the Commonwealth Games in Delhi. So he brought back the Matthias, Chanowera, actually also played in Delhi, but unfortunately he didn't play because I won't say it on.
You'll tell us how. You'll tell us on the side.
I'll tell you on the sideline. So unfortunately he didn't play, but then there was the late Lenny Chikonyogo. Was it called Lenny? Who used to play for Rhinos. Those were the guys who were on the team. Jude Kerimundu, who is now in the US. So that is the team that John Musoke chose. And then he said, Michael, I want you to captain the team. Now you can imagine you captaining guys like Matthias.
Yeah.
You captaining Joel Anguyo. You captaining the late
Seguya, yes.
And that was my first time. But when Ronnie came in, Mutankome, he made me the captain.
Yeah.
So it was only fair for John to let me stay as the captain and lead the team to the Commonwealth Games. So I stayed as the captain, but I was captaining the generals, guys who had played, guys who had just won the African Cup 15s. So it was quite good. And from 2009, when I became the captain, I served for quite some time.
Okay.
You get. So that is how the whole setup of 7 started. But that same year, I was also called for the 15s. And I think I remember we also had the World Cup qualifiers of 15s where we were humiliated here at Legends by Tunisia. Then again, we went to Tunisia and they beat us.
Yeah, the Tunisia game where
Scott
played 12.
Yeah, Scott played 12.
Yes.
Chinene played
15.
I think 15.
Yes.
There was a mix-up of stuff.
Yeah.
So after, because it was the late who was the coach? Chester William.
Yes.
When he came and he saw I was a small boy, there's a picture I saw when Chester William was sending a message and I was somewhere there standing, a very small boy like so.
Yeah.
Someone sent me that picture and said, look how far you've come.
Yeah.
That year, Chester's mentality was, I need big boys.
Yeah.
Because we're going to play Tunisians. These boys like Michael, first be easy.
Yes.
Your time will come. So they sidelined us. And after that, when Tunisia came to Uganda, we were really beaten badly. And then they went to Tunisia again, we lost. So we were out of that World Cup qualifiers completely. When they came back, the team was dismantled. They brought new fresh blood. Kasasa was the coach. He called me. He's like, Michael, come. I want us to go to Nairobi. I want you to play. And that was how I got my first cup. And when I got my first cup, I didn't actually play 13. I played number 14. I was on the wing against Njera. In Nairobi. I know we lost the game, but things were not the best. But it was good for me because me getting my first call up and also me playing my first cup for Uganda was quite amazing. We played in Nairobi, we lost. We came back to Uganda. I think we won that. No, we lost the game at Chadondo. I was still on the wing. I remember Jera scoring like 2 tries off me. Me being on the wing was coming and chipping over.
Yeah.
And then Benon wasn't trying to man the back. And I think that's how I joined the 15s as well. The same year I joined the 7s, the same year I joined the 15s.
What's the dynamic, the difference? Do you have to be fitter for 7s? That's the word being cut around.
Absolutely, you have to be fitter for 7s. But if you play 7s, you can fit very well into the 15s. But if you play 15s, you can't fit very well into the 7s. That is the difference. Yeah, because the 15s will definitely need your physique and your fitness. But the 7s will not need your physique in the 15s when you're not fit. That's the difference.
Let me put him on the spot. There was a time when these guys had come back from France, and Joachim Kisano, who has been on the podcast at the time, I think last year, he came and was a problem in the 7th league, and everyone was like, put Kisano on the team, put Kisano on the team. What do you have to say as a guy who has played for all this time? Usually we just see a guy and you're like, he can dominate, he had the ability to carry the ball. What do you say about guys who get onto the team? How do we get onto the team?
It's hard work. I have seen guys dominating in the 7s, this setup of our national 7s league. But then when they come for training, it's a different story. So it's just about the hard work and commitment. However good you are, this side, when you come for the 7s training, the real 7s training, it's going to humble you. I've seen guys being given a chance. But the guy comes 1 day, 2 days, he runs away, says, Coach, I can't handle. Now, you imagine us who have been in this system for all these years. It's because we are committed. I'm a hard worker. Even at my age, I still go and put in the solid shift. Recently, we were joking with Desire. We went to SA just when we had gone for the Challenger Series.
Yes.
So we have the way we do our fitness, and it's timed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you run 20 meters, they time you. Run 40 meters, they time you. Run 60 meters, they time you. So they have gadgets. When you pass, it blinks and shows that you've passed that stage. And then after, you go and they record your score. They say, in 20 meters, you run it at maybe 5 seconds. You understand? So we went for a test. That time, remember, me and Desire stayed behind when these guys had gone to SA.
Yeah.
So when we went to SA, we were supposed to go and do that same test.
Yeah.
So Desire says, Michael, today I have you. The wrong winner, I have you, I'm going to do my best. But when we did the fitness test, they had not yet revealed the results to us.
Yeah.
So Desire, at the back of his mind, thought he had beaten me.
Hey.
I kept quiet. I said, "Don't worry, Buzu, no problem, let me keep calm." When the results came out, it showed I beat Desire in the 20-meter dash and the 60-meter dash.
Yes.
So in the records, it showed that Michael is faster than Desire even at his age.
At his age.
And Desire really took it as an offense. I told Desire, if you want us to go back and compete, give me 3 months. So that after 3 months, I prepare enough. But for now, I have beaten you. Accept. Give me another 3 months to prepare. Yeah. It's just like boxing. When you go for boxing and today, they beat you. There's no way you're going to fight the next weekend. The guy says, first leave me, give me some time. So I told Desire, give me some time to prepare. We shall compete again. So back to it. When we play the 7 setup of Uganda, I think we don't work as hard as the way we work when we're into the 7s, the national team 7s. So most guys get confused that, man, I have been shining on the 7 setup, I've been shining for Ginger Hippos, I've been shining for Pirates. But when they come to the 7 setup, it's different. I've seen guys run. I've seen guys puke because of the hard work.
That's what I was going to say.
I've seen. I've seen guys. I can tell you, not to shame him, but the first time Etwao came, he had dominated the 7s. He was one of the quickest guys. We only gave him a chance. We went for a road walk. We went to Summit View. Etwao collapsed. He puked. He could not handle. We had to carry him back from the hill all the way down.
Sorry for laughing.
But the beauty about that boy is he didn't give up.
Didn't give up.
He said, it's okay. I'm ashamed because it's my first time. And we all understood because it is a hard work. It's hard work. Because you go and run that hill, I don't know how many times. And us, we don't just run we run kilometers. So you run 100 meters, they count. 100 meters, they count. But it is quick dashing. And you would really see he struggled. But he said, I won't give up. And right now, he's doing well. When we were in Dubai, he was scoring, one of the best tries.
You would even chase guys.
Exactly. So out there is different from when you come into the system. I know guys on social media, this guy can handle. This guy can handle. But when he comes in here, you guys have been watching TV. It is different, man. They fix him. They fix us. They take us around and all that. So, yeah.
Wow. That's an interesting perspective.
But just, I think, before they made the separation of the 7s and the 15s, when the national team players could be called up for both parts of the game, I've always wondered, players like you, players like Justin Kimono at the time, from the league into the setup for the national team 15s, into 7 somehow there, into Uganda Cup, into everything. Like, what players like you, when would you even get a chance to rest? Or was your body really conditioned so well that you did need the rest?
Very good question. I think it comes down to conditioning and also how you take care of your body. If you really treasure your body and make sure that this body you have is going to do what you want and what you treasure the most, and that is playing rugby, I would not miss to go to the gym. I can tell you back then I never fancied going to the gym until Helen was the first person to advise me. Said, Michael, you're a good player, but you need energy. And the only way you're going to get that energy is to go to the gym. She was the first person to actually give me money and tell me, Michael, I'm recommending a gym. There's a gym in Ntinda. The coach is called Shao Sozi. Said, this gym in Ntinda will modify you and you'll play your best rugby ever. I'm like, no, you're lying. She's like, come, I'm going to give you transport, come meet me there. I started gymming in 2012. But I played rugby for Heathens from 2008 to 2012, live wire. No gym, no nothing, just the way I was. I would just go put myself in a tackle and say, over, they're banging me, let them bang me. But there was no power.
Yeah.
But I had the brains.
Yes.
I would run, I would do everything. But she says, if you put in some gym, you're going to be modified. And I didn't take her word for granted. I told her, I'm going to come to the gym. She waited for me at the gym. When I reached the gym, she said, thank you very much. She held my hand and said, this is the guy who is going to make you the best rugby player, if you want to. And from that time, I love the gym. And that's the bit I'm telling you about. If you love your body, you're going to condition your body. You're going to be disciplined. You know what time to sleep. You know when to go and have fun. And I think that is what, as the discipline I've instilled in myself, that has made me play this long. You never see me in a bar during the week. I would know during the week it's about going to work and then home, keep my body. In the morning, I used to go to the gym by 6 a.m. I would be in Ntinda. I would drive from Bogolovi to Ntinda. 6 a.m., do my gym, shower, go to work. Evening, pass by Chadondo. If I have training, train. If I don't have, straight back home, rest the body. You'd only see me doing the madness over the weekend after a rugby game. On Saturday, I would go all out. Go and drink all the beer I want in the world. But make sure Monday that beer is out. You're back to the gym.
Yeah.
I think that is what has helped me play for this long. You understand? But there are guys who are good rugby players, but they don't know how to handle their bodies. They don't have the discipline.
80% of the league.
They don't have the discipline to make them stay in the sport for too long. Guys
Ugandan LeBron James.
Guys ask me, man, what is your medicine? I just tell them it's just discipline. What you do off the pitch, we're not going to follow you. I'm not going to say, Ruben, let me police you. It is self-discipline you instill in yourself. Because what happens, actually, what builds great sportsmen is what you do outside the cameras. When people are not seeing you, how are you going to live your life?
Yeah.
How are you going to make sure you're doing the right things? I know most times guys still, whenever they are in people, you'll see a guy pretending, man, me, I'm not going to drink. But when he's not at Chadondo, he's going to be drinking somewhere in a different bar. So it's all about self-discipline.
Yeah. If you have been a victim of Michael's tools from 2012 onwards, just know that is a team in Ntinda. That is an ad that has run free of charge. So hope you'll give us the details.
That gym has actually built great rugby players. Scott does his gym from there. That body of Mubiru is not from anywhere. It is from that very gym. Justin Chimono has gone to that.
Chimono used to tell me to go to that gym. Yes. I refused in high school.
It wasn't. The gym is not there
still
anymore.
playing and you're here.
It wasn't the most standard gym ever.
Yeah.
But they had a very good instructor. He'll tell you, I don't want you to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
I want you to remain a rugby player. And what do rugby players want? Strength. We do strength workout, we do mobility workout, and you go home. That is all. You do that, you find your body is becoming stronger, you're putting on some good muscle, and you're going and banging guys Casementi for free.
And I think that's great. I think many instructors get it wrong. They think everyone that goes to the gym wants to become a bodybuilder. Yeah, that's not the case. But I think around some time, I don't know if it was around that 2012, 2013 time when Helen had advised you to put on to become strong, and there was also that transition, your body becoming bigger from the small chap you were. Somewhere around there, the name Gonya came up. What is the origin of this thing? We all say Gonya, we all be like, and it has really stuck. I don't know how you have, I don't know if you have, what they call it in your legal terms, securing the name.
A trademark.
Trademarking it, yes.
That name came out as a joke, and then it ended up sticking
around.
And the first person to bring up that name was Opa. So I think there was a game against Mongers at Chadondo, and Opa was on the bench. That time, I think Philip was the one playing. There was someone who was playing fly-off, but I can't remember. And there's this one time I held the ball, and I was running. You know me, if you kick the ball or they give me the ball, I charge straight into you. If there's no door, I try to open it.
Yeah.
So I got the ball, and as I was running, the player who wanted to tackle me went very low, that I would actually even jump over him. But I had this thing in my brain that I want to dominate. I want to bang a guy like a cement. So what ran straight into my mind is, let me also go low and I pick him up from down. Now, after I did that, Opa said a comment on the bench. Gonya. You understand? So that is how the name came in. So everyone on the bench actually laughed. He said, Opa Chichogano. Opa again repeated it. Guy Gonya was like I scooped the guy from down and then I hit the guy like a cement. Now, from that time, Opa kept calling me Gonya. Now, all these other guys also said, Gonya. And that's how the name came into play.
That's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I think one of the...
But also, it also comes down to how ruthless I am. Now, when Opa said Gonya, now guys emulated, saying, man, the cement is Woko's bangs, man. They are hardcore. They are like real Gonya stuff. Like you will go in hard and bang a guy and he feels it. So, and that all came in because of the power I got from the gym.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, the gym gave me more confidence than ever before. I knew I'd go into any tackle. I knew I'd bang anyone a handoff. I knew I'd go and stool anyone I wanted because of that gym that was instilled in me, because I got the confidence to play the game of rugby the way I want to play it.
That's good. There's always a Helen story in very many rugby players' journeys. But one thing I've noticed from us having this conversation is that you've had a number of people speak into your life that guy is going to be great. That guy he has what it takes. That guy has the ability. Have you ever had moments in your journey where you have perhaps wanted to give up or doubted yourself?
Yes, I have. I will take you back to 2016. I got a very nasty jaw injury.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the time I thought maybe I should quit the sport. Because before I'd gotten injured, but to me, that was really a trying moment for me. So it happened on the pitch during a training session. There was a ball kicked up in the air, and I tried to go for the ball. And Ben Okello, they call him Ben Beer, also tried to go up for the same ball. So as I was coming down, I jumped higher than him. As I was coming down, his elbow hit my jaw. So I felt a sharp pain after that hit, but I didn't really know what was happening. I thought maybe it's just the normal kind of, you get a hit, after a day or two, it's done. So when I got that hit, I told the doctor, man, I'm feeling a bit of pain. The doctor's like, maybe it's just, it's minor. Let me give you painkillers. Maybe you will stabilize. But as I went home, I felt a sharp pain. I tried to eat food. I felt my jaws were not biting together. I would just put food in my mouth, and if I feel that pain, I just swallow the food. So I'm like, I think there's something wrong. Let me try and call the doctor and see what he can do for me. So the doctor calls me, he's like, come, let me see, let me review you, come to the clinic, let me review you and see what the problem is. So I went, he said, I think we need to do an x-ray. We need to do an x-ray of your jaws. But I told him, doctor, I'm not feeling anything that I'm broken. Even if I'm feeling that sharp pain, it's like, no, things don't happen that way. Maybe you have a fracture, but it is enclosed that you cannot feel it. So he takes my x-ray of the jaw and he brings it out. He says, Michael, you have a crack on your jaw. There's a fracture.
Wow.
And we need to find a way of what? Of treating it, or we need to find a way of managing it. So I asked him, how are you going to do it? He said, there are two options. One is to cut you inside the jaw, put a blade. So you put a blade to try and put your jaw in one position so that it doesn't keep moving. And that way, the fracture can heal back. He said, the second option I'm giving you is to wire your jaws through the wire, like wiring your jaws.
Kanye West.
Yes, Kanye West style. So they put metals on your teeth up and then down, and then they put them together and seal
I remember it happened to Dexter and even Sembuya.
Yeah. So when they seal,
Mm.
your jaws are not moving.
Yes.
They're in one place. And that way, the jaw can what? The fracture
Can
can
heal.
heal back.
Mm.
So when he said that, I said, you know what, doc, I'm not ready for any of these.
Mm.
Can I just heal like a dog?
Yeah.
Let me just go on there. I just heal on my own. He said, no, there's no way you can because you keep moving your mouth.
Mm.
And I told him, doc, maybe if I go away, I'll not talk too much. I'll just be quiet.
Yeah.
I said, Michael, it is not possible.
Yeah.
You'll want to go and bang cable with your friends. You'll definitely be opening your mouth.
Yeah.
And you'll also put in food.
Yeah.
So these two options, choose one. I told him, doctor, let me go and think about it. But for now, I can't make a decision. I left. He told me, Michael, you will come back alone. If you don't come back, you're going to make that fracture septic. And it's going to cause more complications. So I left. But after a day, I said, you know what? I think I'm messing up with my life. Let me go back to the doctor and see what he does. So I just chose one option because I didn't want him to cut me. But the wire thing seemed a bit logical.
Yeah.
Like easy to do. I go and tell him, doctor, I'm here. Do whatever you want to me. But I think this is the option I want. It's like, good. I told you you're going to come back. He puts me there. He puts the metals up. He puts them down and says, say your final word. I'm going to lock you up. Yes. He said, do you want to drink anything right now or eat anything? Because you're not going to eat for the next 6 weeks.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh. He wired me. Said, Michael, you're going to go on a blended diet. You're going to blend all the food you're going to eat. That's the only way. You're not going to open your mouth for 6 weeks. But after 4 weeks, come back, I review you and see how far. So I go, I said, now, what am I going to do with my life? I can't eat. What am I going to do with my life?
Not
said,
chadi ribs. Not chadi ribs.
Man, KFC. It's like, no, you go. What you're going to do, take porridge, take yogurt, just keep drinking as much as you can. I tried, but shit was hard. I lost about 10 kgs. So in that process, I thought, I'm like, you know what? I've had enough of this sport. I've so far played for some good years. Why don't I just what? Give up and maybe look for something else to do. So I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Let me first heal and I see. But at that point, I was like done. I even started telling my mom, I told her, you know what? I think I'm done. I'm not going to play again. Because I can't go through this pain. I can't eat for 6 weeks. I can't do the things I normally do. I could tell you I could not even go and I could not go to the restroom to do a number 2 because there was nothing to pull out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I would spend like 3 days without going to do a number 2. There was nothing because I was only taking in fluids. I would only go and maybe and pee. That was it. So I'm like, why would I go through this whole pain?
Yeah.
Why? Is it just because of rugby? Maybe I just need to chill. Because maybe if I come back, the same injury will come. And that's the time I really thought maybe I should give way with the sport and do other things. Look for money and become whoever I want to become in life.
There's an iconic picture that was taken at Legends with you, and I think it was the Redos. They were smiling, and you were like this.
That was dumb.
You should share that
They used to
photo.
make fun of me that through the wires. So the way I used to eat is, I have a gap on my side. I was very lucky I had a gap.
Yeah.
But for other people who don't have gaps, they have to surrender one tooth.
What?
Yeah.
To be able to feed in
Bro.
that
Be
period.
able to feed, and you can only feed with a straw.
Bro.
You understand? Because
Bro.
if you
Thank
you
God you
imagine
get us in
you
there.
imagine your teeth are like this,
Yeah.
nothing can enter. Even if you pour something here, it won't enter,
Yeah.
and then your teeth will be messed up. So I have a gap, a natural gap. That's the only way I would feed. But these other guys, they have to surrender their tooth, and then they will put it back after. What? So it was really hard for me. I would blend whatever I would do. I would blend. I would take more of soup and all that, but still it didn't help. I lost 10 kgs. I became a lanky guy. I was really small, and yet I'd put on some weight. So that's the time I really thought maybe I should chill the sport. So after 4 weeks, I go back to the doctor and say, doctor, I've had enough. Please let the results of the next X-ray come out clear and you remove these things. I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'd prepared. I said, after here, I'm running straight to KFC. I need to buy a bucket. I need to buy a bucket to eat.
Just eat.
So So the doctor says, okay, let's do an X-ray. Said after X-ray, wait for me there. The guy came back with bad news. Says, Michael, yeah, the fracture is building back, but I think we need to give it more 2 weeks. I was very disappointed.
Yes, wait.
Sincerely, how do I wait for another 2 weeks?
Yeah.
But after 2 weeks, I went back and he said, you're now good, but start with small things. Don't go all out. Start with these things, but I still went and bought my bucket of KFC.
Yeah, you see, the bucket is a bucket. You have to get it.
Yeah. So that was one of those injuries that made me really think about playing rugby, and maybe I should quit the sport. Yeah.
Maybe just to address now, since we're talking challenges, more to highlight now which was on the pitch. Germany, Challenger Series, Chile. Now, let you give you time to gather your thoughts. I'll tell you what I went through.
I think
That game.
I mean, it was one of those things that was really painful. We felt very bad for the players. You could see how downcast they were. It really took them through a lot to get where they were.
I think, to me, that was the most traumatizing thing we've ever gone through.
Yeah.
I know 2021, when they locked us up in Monaco, was quite traumatizing as well and depressing.
Yes.
Because I went to Monaco to try and qualify for the Olympics, but then we didn't happen even to step into Monaco town or even on the pitch for any training session, and were locked up for 14 days.
Wow.
Into our rooms. And now, a player like me, most of the time when I go on tour, I sleep alone.
Yeah.
Because these days they allow 13 players. And now when they're 13, it's an odd number.
Yeah.
Yet most of the times we are even, we sleep in the same room. So the odd man is the one who sleeps alone. And most times they choose the captain to sleep alone. So among the most, I would say, the most challenging times of our career was that Chile tournament. It seemed so close, but so far.
Yeah.
We had worked ourselves as hard as we could to find that we get to where we wanted, because we had a very beautiful year, starting by the African Cup, going to the Commonwealth. The year was really flowing the way we wanted it to flow.
Yeah.
And the climax of the year to be the best
was
that very
It was not
tournament.
actually the World Cup.
World Cup was just a bonus,
the World Cup was
because
an additional
we knew
thing.
for the World Cup we definitely were not going to win it.
Yeah.
We're just going to try and get a better seeding than we did in 2018.
Yeah.
But the tournament we needed the most was that Challenger Series.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, it's like the world had gone down on us.
Yeah.
And yet we had done everything in our means to ensure we get to the series. And the most disappointing thing was the team we had convincingly beaten.
Exactly.
Uruguay
is the one that went to the series.
I can tell you what the boys were feeling.
Yeah.
And I was with them in spirit, because guys threatened to leave the sport.
Yeah.
Guys said, guys posted on social media.
Yeah, I remember.
And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Because it was depressing. After all the hard work we had done, we come to a stage where we feel we have it, but then it just runs out of our hands like that. It was really a trying moment, I would say, for you G7s.
Yeah.
And I can feel what was back home was even more than what the boys were feeling.
Man, I cried. I'll not lie. I cried. Ruben, I
imagine.
don't know. Ruben smokes shisha. Ruben smokes shisha.
For the first
For me,
time.
I cried.
on the Rugby Africa Sevens, every time like the guy is crying. The Sevens guys have made this cry more. This guy cry more. He has probably cried for the Africa Sevens more than even his girlfriend.
But I can tell you how, if we had gotten to the series, how it was going to change lives.
Yeah.
Maybe some of us like me would have quit my job, which, just in jokes, but I think it was going to open up massive doors for all the players.
Yeah.
Because if you look at all the players, the age difference and the average age is quite good. They still have a lot to offer. And if we're going to the series, maybe teams would be running with some good contracts. Doesn't matter how much, but at least seeing that you're going to play professional. And with the talent we have, we're going to be much better than all the teams that had just gone into the series.
Yeah.
It's very sad that Uruguay has to come back down.
Yeah.
But if it was us up there, trust me, I think we would have stayed there.
Yeah.
Because we are getting better and better and better as a team. and the fact that most of the guys are young. I'm the only guy who is above 30. From Philip, Ian, Casito, all below 30. Most of the guys are between 25, 26, 22, 23. And you can really see that is a big future. If we had only got to that stage to showcase our talent with our age, it was going to be massive. It was going to open up doors for us. So that moment was really, it's going to be one that we'll all write about in our lives or when we retire or something. Yeah, but it was really tough for us. But I like the way the boys bounced back. And also, I commend the fans for what they did. They were with us. They felt our pain, and they even went an extra mile to come and pick us up at the airport. And it was really good and amazing from them. Yeah. So it gave us more hope and motivation to go forward. And I like the way we regrouped back for the World Cup, and we went and put up a very good show as well.
Yeah, the World Cup was a really, really, really perfect show. Let me just hit up on there's this video when this particular fixture, I think it was against Tunisia 15s on Kwese, where I think Okia was going to score a try, but then he handed the ball over to you, and then you handed over the ball to Munyani to score his first try. So bringing that now into the handover, the resignation stroke handover. Going into that, do you have a say in who you pick, or what does the coach look out for in terms of that leadership?
Now, the leadership structure changed, and how a captain is picked changed. And I know you're going to hear this for the first time, but I just have to say it.
Yeah.
Before, the captain was chosen by the coach.
Yeah.
Because the coach is most times with all the players. He knows the ability of the players, and he knows what the players are capable and who is capable of leading his team and who can push us forward. So I've been a captain for quite some time. I captained from 2009 to 2016. Between 2014, me and Otim were the captains for the Commonwealth Games. And then Otim retired that very year. I still went on to play. And then in 2016, I wasn't with the team because I'd gone on a work mission in Malawi. My work had sent me to Malawi to do some work, and that was the very time when the African Sevens was there. So the coach consulted with me, says, who can we put as captain? And at that time, there was no one who was more senior and no one who was of age. I said, maybe Casito would do. But then it's like, Casito is not. No, it wasn't Casito. Casita. Casita would do because he has played some rugby. He has been with Buffaloes, and I think he's one of the most senior guys around. And I'd chosen Philip, but then Philip sometimes he just wants to be the cool guy. He just be the guy to help the team go forward. But the captainship thing, not so much. But before, Philip was my assistant captain for so long. Every time I was the captain, Philip would step in as the assistant. So he chose Casito to be
Casita, yes.
Casita to be the captain in that very tournament. And he didn't disappoint. They went to Nairobi, played very beautiful rugby, beat Kenya in the semi-finals, beat Namibia, and won the African Cup. They came back, I was very happy. I had actually just landed back on Sunday when they were playing their final games. And I remember watching the game with some of the guys, and I said, man, we beat Kenya in the semi-finals. I'm very sure we're going to win this trophy. Because Namibia was no match to Uganda. And that was the time all the boys were fired up. I think that was the time Casito had just joined the team. And he really wanted. I think there's a try he scored, end-to-end try, and really said this is the beginning of a superstar. And it was quite good. And then moving forward, when I came back, I was given the cup. When I came back, Casito was still the captain. I said, it's fine, you can be the captain. I'm good. Because I'd captained for about, how many years? This is about 7 years. And when I came back, I think Casito was relocating to the US. So when the coach looked, he said, no, Michael should continue being the captain. That's how I became the captain again in 2018. So from 2017 to 16 to 17, Casita was the captain. So from 2018, I took over again. I captained the team to the Commonwealth and then the African Cup. We were silver medalists in 2018 and 2019. I was the captain. So last year, the dynamics of how the captain is chosen changed. So the new format is the ExCom want to choose the captain. You understand? The ExCom want to sit and vote who should be the captain of the team going forward. The power was removed from the coach. I don't know what entailed to that, how it came up to be that way, but that is how it is done right now. So last year, I wasn't with the team for some bit of it. I was a bit busy. The team went to SF for coaching, for fine-tuning at Stellenbosch Academy of Sports. So when they came back, I wasn't part of the team. I think me and Desire or someone. So when I came back, I rejoined back the team. So when I rejoined back the team, just take you back. In 2019, Ian, because that time I didn't go for the Safari Sevens. Ian was the captain, if you remember very well. And they won the plate.
Yes, the plate.
Yeah. So when we came back, we didn't have major tournaments. I still remained the captain after we went for the Challenger Series in Uruguay and Chile.
Chile, yes.
Yeah. So last year is when they sat down to review and said, okay, we need to choose a captain going forward again. But I was still the captain.
Yeah.
So they had to vote, and they said, okay, they voted me back in and said, let Michael be the captain, and then Ian become his vice. So I was the captain throughout last year, and then starting this year as well. But then I'm a busy guy these days because I got a new job and it is really taking a toll on me. And also, like I said in the beginning, I'm in the evening of my career.
Yeah.
And I only found it wise that maybe it's high time I step down and let Ian take over and continue being the captain, because the team is going to lead is relatively of the same age as him, and it will only be good for him to grow with them together, because they would understand him more. Because if you look at the age difference between me and the boys, it's really huge.
It's like Kenji's and Maisonnois. It's a big difference.
I can imagine the conversations there, the slang works.
Exactly. No, I also know slang more.
I know, but that's a different level.
I just saw it was right, because a candle loses nothing lighting the other.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is a guy who has been in the setup. It's only right for him to step forward. It would have been maybe Casito, because Casito is more senior than Ian.
Yes.
You understand? But Casito is also one of the guys who just wants to be
smash a guy when he breaks the line.
Lay low and chill and be led. So the next person in line was definitely Ian. And because he had led the team to a plate in Safari 7. So I found it right that he takes over, and also me, I follow. I also want to be led. I've been leading for so long.
You don't know what it's like.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like being at the back, running in the last.
That also change your room privileges. You'll now have to share, and the captain.
No. I still stay senior. I still stay senior.
A lion is still a lion.
Yeah, I still stay Captain Gonya or Captain Che. Anyway, with that, I think it's good. The team grow with the team going forward, and I'm still. They still consult me, because Ian is the captain and then Aaron is the vice captain. They still consult me, even on the pitch when we are playing. When there's a call to be made, I see him looking at me and say, is that okay? Can I make that call? And last year, I spent most of the time just trying to nurture him, to making him who the captain want to be. Like, he would consult with me, how do I do this? How do I do this? During the game, sometimes I don't say, Ian, today you lead us. Lead us and we see how it goes. And I think it's that right time. I've done my part. I've really served for a very long time. Maybe I could be retiring next year or the year after, but it's about that time. So let him grow with the team, let him lead the team to many championships, which I know he will, and bring glory back to Uganda.
I think if Ian has concerns when you're not on the pitch about decision making, you should get him an earpiece back to Uganda. Hear the fans go for points, go for points.
No, I think he's capable of making decisions.
Yeah,
he is. And I think also the good thing is Cobbs also gave him that
platform.
The leadership position now he's taking in Cobbs. I think it's also good. It's going to help him. Because also when I became a leader, when I became the captain of the sevens team, I wasn't actually the captain of the Heathens team.
Yeah.
So I think my abilities and capabilities in the sevens setup also triggered me becoming a captain in the Heathens team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Perfect. Ruben, as we wrap this up, usually rugby is associated with aspects of values that people gain from it off the field and on the field. What are those key values you think? And then maybe Michael will give us his values as well, and then we'll call it a day.
I think the one thing which I think you echoed at some point in the podcast as well was rugby is a mirror of your life. Yeah. In that I think it was Fred, if I'm not mistaken, in Emiliango, Coach Mudola Fred, where he said that the way you play your rugby can reflect the way you carry yourself in life. If you let people walk over you on the pitch, then their chances are perhaps high that even in real life that's maybe what's happening. So he was really trying to instill in us those values that you need to be able to stand up for yourself. And even sometimes when you fall down, don't stay down, but get up and face the next challenge and try to achieve something. So just trying to tell us the same thing that Michael had said, that when it comes to your rugby, treat your life and treat your rugby synonymously in the way that you carry yourself. But even just aside from that, you keep saying the word I like using, the camaraderie, the brotherhood that comes from it. I mean, so many opportunities personally that I have gotten from just building the networks around rugby, and it brings in the value of respecting everyone regardless of what camp they're in, what team they support, and what happens on pitch. Understanding that off pitch it's something totally different, and you're all one big family. It's a rare thing to see in other sports in Uganda that Cobb's Heathens is played or Cobb's Pirates is played, but after the final whistle, we are all seated together having a drink or having something to eat, and that is, I think, one of the things that I really appreciate about the game.
Michael, values?
Major values is teamwork. I think rugby brings about teamwork. And it's not only on the pitch, but also out of the pitch. I think I've met a couple of my rivals from different clubs, but when you look at us outside the pitch, you may think we play for the same club.
Yeah.
So these are the characters I attribute to rugby players. It builds a lot of character in us. Just like Ruben has said, even after smashing each other on the pitch, we're having a beer together.
Yeah.
I think we're not in battle like 2 hours before. And also the character I talk about is after you have conceded defeat, we're still shaking hands, we're hugging on the pitch and all that. So those are one of the values that I really attribute rugby to, and also discipline.
Yeah, discipline is very
I don't know, if I was not a rugby player, I don't know what kind of man I would be now. Oh God. I think rugby has really taught me so much discipline.
Yeah.
It has shaped me to become the man I am right now. And I give it back to rugby because it has fine-tuned me to become the gentleman I am today.
Yeah.
Maybe some people will not believe that I'm a gentleman, but I am a
once in a while.
And it has helped me a lot in my walks of life, in my workplace, and the respect I gain. Like now in my workplace, man, guys respect me. Guys call me Kapi, all those things. Whenever I'm going somewhere to someone's room to ask for maybe a signature, they welcome me well because they know I'm not just
a busybody.
Yes, a busybody, but I'm a respectable guy and I've really served the nation. So these are kind of the values, the core values that rugby instills in us. And I think even the sportsmanship, that is all about rugby.
Now,
we
just to close, as we close, what is the future, the Ugandan future of the Jersey number 13 that you've played in? You started from the top, you had the Mudolas and those before him and whatever. What do you think who has been in Ugandan rugby, particularly that Jersey for all this long, what is the future for it? Which players stand out at the moment and who can make it better?
I would pick 2 players.
Yeah.
But the first one would be Ian Munyani.
Yes.
I think we have not seen much of him with his team at number 13 because of the 7 setup.
Yes.
Most of the time when he's doing his thing, then he's called away. So we have not seen him being consistent. but I think he's one guy who would take up that number 13 position quite well. The fact that he's a big boy, he's tall, he's strong. You know, number 13s, you need to have that body that can scare the opponent. When you stand there, they know this is a big guy, we can't run around him, because the number 13 role is very important. You're covering three people. You're covering your winger, covering the fullback in a way, because the channels people are running at, remember your fullback is also running that same, the opposite fullback is also running that same channel.
Yeah.
And then your number 13 is running the same channel. And then sometimes the number 14 wants to come at that same channel. So there's a lot of work that you have to put in. And I think Ian is a hard worker. He has really worked hard. When you look at him in the sevens, he has, I think, one of the most tackles in the middle there.
Yeah.
Very few in the middle, and they know.
Yeah.
I only get there when things are hot. But most times, with my age, I want to be a bit hidden.
Yes.
So I can make my 1-2 tackles come in. But in the middle there, you need a young guy who is active, who is on his toes to do the work. So my first choice would be Ian. My second choice would be Twafik. Malagadi. Bagarana
Yes.
Twafik. I think he has had a very good season.
Yes.
He has 12 tries on the log. And he's a big boy as well. He's a hard runner. And I think he will also be a very good fit for that number. He just needs to work more harder. He tried the 7 setup, but I think it didn't go well for him. But he's a young man who has a very big future. He just needs to put more want in the things he does. Sometimes I look at him as a lazy guy outside. But then again, I get surprised
on
the
the
amount
pitch
of work he puts in the pitch. It's a bit confusing. So I don't know if he can change his image about being outside, being that lazy guy, and different from what he is inside. I know it can't change, but it's good that he shows a lot of agility and hard work when he's given that number. So those are my 2 picks. I've not really seen anyone else.
Yeah.
Maybe the guys who are there just trying out the 13 position, but those are the 2 guys I've really seen who want to take up that position.
Yeah, Taufik plays golf, so golf is all about the follow through. So you have to swing it out up to the end. So maybe as we close this one, we'll just say thank you very much for coming. It has been a long conversation. Even in the darkness, we have still gone on, and there's plenty more we could discuss. But we look forward to having you. Maybe we'll segment one with maybe Cobb's Hiddens, and we have you and Oscar again here, and we have these discussions. We relive the memories.
Yeah, it will be quite interesting.
It will be an interesting one. So maybe, Ruben, the weekend there is action in Ginger, the championship playoffs, semi-finals to get promotion to the main league. Rams were unfortunately relegated, so we have the guys who are putting on Warriors. They will be playing. Elgon Wolves at 4 p.m. and then we'll have the 2 p.m. derby. They call it the Bad Derby. The Falcons against the Eagles. Gulu City Falcons versus the Eagles. So that will be one of the action points of rugby over the weekend in Ginger, and then the after party of the season will be at Rugby Chill. So you guys, you know where I'll be, but we hope the teams can have a safe trip with this Mother's Day traffic, and then some good rugby to watch, and then we'll see who will come. From Fat Cats, thanks for watching, and keep on liking and subscribing to our channels. We'll keep on bringing you more conversations of this nature. It is 7:30, and from the Fred and Winnie B&B, time for some evening tea. So just, have a nice one.
My parting shots, I think, thank you very much to Fat Cats.
Yes.
I think you guys are doing a great job.
Okay.
It's the first of its kind.
Yes.
Having such, when you're not being pressurized on TV.
Yeah.
You need to make up.
Makeup, you know, makeup. Yeah. You need a makeup budget.
It's just a freestyle conversation. I think it's quite good.
That's what we'll aim for.
Yes, and it makes the conversation interesting.
Yeah.
And I think you guys are doing a good job in promoting the sport.
Yeah.
And then also having those spaces, giving guys opportunity to air out their views, and then picking views, putting them on social media, giving guys that time to debate and talk about the sport and how to better the sport. I think it's quite good, and I really pray you guys stay long
Yeah.
I don't want to say don't be like the other guys
They
who,
don't be like the other guys.
who tried out for a very short while
Yeah.
and disappeared. But
For us, we're here to
I
stay.
would say kudos, you guys are doing a very good job. Just keep doing the job. And anytime you want guys to come and talk rugby and discuss a few things, I'll be ready if I get time. I'll definitely honor that invite again and see that we just sensitize the masses about rugby, talk about those challenging moments, the values of rugby, and how some players can get better.
Perfect.
So thank you very much.
An endorsement from a captain. There is nothing else we can
There's
say.
nothing else we
Just
want now.
nothing else. So thank you very much. Keep it, Fat Cats.